couple little improvements up here at the shop. What's going on, everybody? It has been a little while since we have done a mowing video, but I have something a little bit special. As most of you know, I am a hardcore Scag guy, but today we are going to try something out different. Cornell Mac Lawn Landscape got a new mower, and he has offered to let me use it today. I'm a little behind. I got to cut four of my biggest properties today, and he's going to let me use his brand new Toro HDX with a 37 horse, 60-inch deck, and I am excited. Let me load it up, and we'll see you out there. Let's go. When I first started cutting grass about 8 years ago now, never did I think that I was gonna have a 60-inch mower on this trailer, but I did. When I bought this Lamar single axle trailer for mowing, I said to myself, don't get a 5x8. Don't do it. Don't get a 5x8. Get something that you can grow into. So I got a 7x12. And thank goodness, because with the trash cans and all the accessories, we're on there, and it looks mean. I mean, I've got a 48. I love my Scag, but I've started taking on some bigger properties, and eventually I'm gonna have to get a 60 if I want to move to just cutting large acreage and doing tree work. A 60-inch mower is the progression, and this is exciting. This is a lot of fun. All right, we're all locked up. We just gotta strap her down and we'll get out of here. We don't gotta plug the phone in. Let's plug our headphones in so it's gonna be charged when we get to the first house. I am gonna give everyone a little F350 update. Fuel mileage still just god awful. Let me tell you what we're averaging right now. It is below atrocious. For the lifetime of the truck, we are getting 9.4 over the last 19,727 miles. 9.4. Whew. My Cummins got like 14 to 15 on average for its lifespan of that vehicle. And our like day-to-day mileage in this thing, right now we're getting 0.3. Now, like I said, there is a lot of construction, a lot of traffic, a lot of time idling. We have to park in the road on a few properties, so it does sit sometimes for like 25-30 minutes with the four ways and the ambers on, because we have to block an entire lane of traffic because there's nowhere to pull off on some of these streets. So, you know, with that being said and all that included, I guess that's one of the reasons the fuel mileage is just atrocious. But overall, the truck's good. My left blinker is still sticking. I've fiddled around with that a little bit. The infotainment system has to be reset, I would say, about once a week. It just won't sync up to the phone unless I reset it. But other than that, I mean, this is an easy truck to work on. Oil changes, air filters, all that kind of stuff. Very simple. I put new tires on it. We're running the, not open country. I forget the name of the tires, but we got a new set of tires on, and they are really nice. Oh, we're running the Falcon Wild Peak ATW4s, and I've got about 11,000 miles on them through deep snow driving this winter up in New England, going to the ski resorts, and around town towing. Haven't gotten stuck yet, and they've just been, and they're fairly quiet. They were really affordable, and they're a good heavy truck tire. I think they have a 60,000 mile rating on them, and that's prorated at the tire dealership or the tire store. So if we have any issues, they'll be able to hook us up. But we're gonna go to our first property. It's about a 15-minute drive, and it's a pretty sweet spot to cut grass. It's a big yard, and we've got big yard after big yard after big yard today. So when we pull up, I'll grab the camera, we'll set everybody up, we'll show you the yard, and we'll get to cutting. See you there. That dinging noise is gonna be the death of me. This yard is long. Dandelions galore. This is the only slope I can't do with the Scag, but this one, I can cut this one with the Scag, no problem. We'll see how the 60 does. Couple of tight spots we gotta fit in back there. Larger spot in the backyard, but this is actually like the smallest yard of the day. So we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited to try it out. Put the cutting height at, let's go to 4 because this thing's big, and if the border lap at 4 is okay, then we'll move it down. Nothing to it, but to do it. Wow. See ya. Did have to double cut that, and that's just because the grass was so long, but I mean, these are popping. These look great. I think if it had a set of Ballard gold blades on it, it might have been able to go through one cut just because it would have the vacuum and the mulching effect, but you know, this grass hasn't been cut in 9 days, and we got wild onion in it, and it's not treated or anything like that, so it can be a little tough. I'll set you up, we'll hyperlapse the rest of this, and then we'll talk, and I'll give you my 2 cents on what I think so far. Show everyone just how tall we're talking. And this was cut 9 days ago. And it's pretty aggressive how fast it's growing. If you don't have a tripod, but you have a shovel, they're the same thing. first yard with a 60, I think it went pretty well. Does a property like this need a 60-inch mower? I think that is the $15,000 question. No, it doesn't. It did make several things easier. More power is definitely noticeable, especially when we get into the front here. And, I mean, it looks good. It looks real good. They came out nice. Up top here looks good. But a 60-inch mower won't go where a 48 will. So I already realized on the first yard, I'm doing more trimming in a few areas I normally don't. And I'm having to do a little more detail work with the string trimmer where normally the 48 can kind of tuck in, but that's unique to this property. Let's head over to the next one and see if my opinion changes on that. My mic's charging, so I apologize for maybe the poor audio quality. But the 60 with the horsepower here really shined. It's hard to get it on camera, but there's a slight upslope here. It did want to pop a few wheelies, but it did excellent all the way down there in the wet. And another yard. I'm very happy. It has a little trouble getting into like this kind of stuff, the nooks and crannies where the 48 kind of fits up in, especially like up into here, but it did okay. It's all about, do you want to, I think, what's your productivity? Are you quicker with a string trimmer or is it easier on the mower? That's kind of like what I'm balancing here. Or if you can have the 48 and the 60 on the same trailer. And maybe I would take the 48, buzz around the house real quick with it, put it away, grab the 60, and then do the open areas with the 60. Maybe that is something I look at next time. Maybe I ask to borrow it again and take both mowers. But we'll go on to the next one. And again, another big yard. You've seen this property in a couple of my videos before. We are at BJ's Spotless Car Wash, and I like to make this my last yard of the day because it allows me to clean everything off, and I feel it's only right to return Mac's brand new HDX back to him the same way he gave it to me, and that's clean and full of fuel. So let's see how fast I can cut this. This is usually on the 48 with trimming and everything. This is about a 75 minute yard. I think I can cut it down to like 45 minutes. Oh, yeah. I will say HDX, good tie down points. I'm a big fan of that. The ride quality with the big tires. The other grandstands, it's not that they don't cut grass well. It's the ride quality, in my opinion, is pretty harsh with the smaller tires. You get beat up on some of these bumpy yards, you know, because let's be honest, we're not all cutting golf courses perfectly leveled out here. A lot of us are cutting just plain old grass, and it can be a little bit of a workout. The transparent tank, I like that too. A gauge would be nice, but transparent tank's still cool. Fire it up. No, it's doing its thing. I always forget. With the EFI, you gotta like give it a second. Boom, and we're off. I like to leave it in the eco mode, backing it off, because I'm just a tiny bit nervous with someone else's equipment. Just go nice and slow. Take my time. All right, brake on. And let's grab you guys and we'll put you up here and we'll go for a little ride. pretty decent. I'm impressed. It holds hills well too. It didn't even slide when I parked it there. It's pretty steep. There's a lot to say. There's a lot to say about this mower. I think it's best we do it at the shop. I'm like a older, distinguished gentleman now. I have to change glasses all the time. The Toro HDX 60 with the, I believe, is it the Vanguard? Yeah, this is the Vanguard oil guard system. I mean, that's pretty cool. 60 inch. Let's have a liquid death. I love these things. This is the root beer one. It's basically soda, but it's not. So good. Great day with the Grandstand HDX 60. Compared to my Scag, it's way more mower. I mean, it's a totally different machine. It's definitely the next level in heavy duty commercial. Couple things I want to say before I would say whether I would buy one or not. The deck, fantastic cut quality. It is a 60-inch deck, you have to be aware of that. So sometimes on some of the valleys and uneven spots, you may cut over it and not get the contouring that you want. Or on super uneven stuff, you may scalp. I did not scalp today. It did an excellent job at not scalping. But I could see where a 60-inch on some of my bumpier, smaller yards may not be the mower to go with. The motor, 37 horsepower Vanguard, is fantastic. You can really tell that compared to my Scag, which has 22 horsepower, that this is just so much better. It's able to, not only can it go through thick grass, it can go through thick grass at speed, which I think is important in the springtime on these really big commercial properties where time is money, and if you're at the double cut and everything like that, before you know it, you did twice the work and only got paid once. Where this machine basically cancels that out. This oil guard system, I really like it. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's excellent going forward to reduce maintenance intervals and keep the mower on the truck and out in the field. It doesn't have a fuel gauge, but it does have a transparent tank. But a fuel gauge would be nice for what you're paying for this mower. The parking brake is very intuitive. Once you figure out how to put your hands on it, this is my first time running a Toro. I got about 5.5 hours on it today, and I thought it was a lot of fun once I figured out how all the controls work. I would say the first lawn was kind of frustrating because I didn't realize that the PTO switch is like a triple action switch where there's an off, like a medium, a middle setting, and an actual engagement that you have to click down. Same thing with the throttle. 3-position switch. There's a turtle mode, an eco, and then a full power. And you just got to figure out which setting you need to be in, where you want to engage the blades and everything like that. The hydros are lightning quick, very responsive, not stiff. They don't feel like they need broken in or anything. They're good to go. The larger tire size makes a huge difference. It's one of the reasons I bought a Scag. Bigger tires, when you get into a small rut or a hole or a bumpy yard and you have more sidewall, it's a much smoother, more comfortable ride, especially on a platform that's not really spring assisted or anything. Where the OG grandstands, anytime I used one or even just drove around a parking lot, you felt everything. And there's pros and cons to that. You know, maybe you feel more connected to the turf, where this you might feel a little more isolated, and maybe it's harder to tell whether the lawn you're on is bumpy or not. But it just soaks up everything, and with the power and how the deck is laid out, you can just move and groove and not have to stop or not have to worry about scalping a yard out because you hit a big dip and your tires aren't quite big enough to handle it. Would I buy one? Not for me. The Toro platform I think is excellent, but I like standing between the wheels. And I think that's just a personal preference thing. I found the mower to be a little bit wheelie happy, and I would, if I owned one of these, I would probably add 50 pounds minimum, 25 and 25 on each front caster to help keep the mower more balanced. I'm at 285, and I mean, on some of these little small knolls that I was going over, it just popped wheelies, and basically the platform turns into like a skid pad, and you just kind of ride it out. It's like being on an old school pro stance. But that being said, for someone maybe under 250 or maybe even 200 pounds, like Cornell, he's a much lighter fellow, much smaller. He probably doesn't have that issue on this mower. And he probably actually enjoys standing behind the platform and the ease ability to get on and off, and the ability that it gives you to really lean and hold some hills and put your weight on one side of the mower much more effectively than when you're kind of in these chariot style platforms where you're sucked in and you really don't have a lot of wiggle room, and maybe it feels a little claustrophobic. The pad is very comfortable. Like I said, the controls are very intuitive. Once you kind of get used to, hey, I have to hold my hands down to engage this and take the brake off so it won't stall and all that. Great mower. If you get a chance to use one, you're gonna love it. And I really want to thank Cornell for letting me use this today. And Toro, keep it up, man. But add a little more weight to the front for us big fellas.